If you're drawn to cosmic mysteries, lost origins, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity, give this a like and share your favorite theory in the comments. Prepare for a journey that will rewrite what it means to be human. The midday sun battered down as Dr. Lena Kwan knelt beside a freshly unearthed skeleton. Scaled bones tipped with feather-like filaments lay half-buried in golden sand. Paleontologists had long dismissed these as feathered dinosaurs, but this wasn't ordinary. Lena's breath caught when she noticed the smooth ridge running along the creature's skull, like a built-in crest harnessing strength or structure. It was too precise to be natural. She held her scanner close. Subtle energy traces pulsed from the fossil, responding to the probe's proximity. The micro-signals hinted at embedded patterns, almost like communication. Not biological, but designed. "Lena, you seeing this?" Tech assistant Malik called from behind, voice quivering with excitement. Lena's heartbeat thundered. This crest, it's engineered. Doesn't align with any dinosaur line. No genetic decay, no fossil wear. Something altered it. Her words came out urgent. Malik's face hovered over the tablet. Bone microstructure shows symmetrical nanochannel patterns, like circuitry or data nodes embedded at death. Could they be a primitive computer? Lena swallowed. The implications hit like an explosion. Were these creatures just living beings, or bioengineered vessels? She tapped a tablet command and began a radiometric scan. The fossils glowed bright on the screen, revealing hidden implant vestiges fused into skeletal tissue. 48 hours later, secure lab near Beijing. Beneath UV floodlights, the extracted fossils lay on preparation tables. Carbon ceramic ridges in the bone refused decay. Holographic scans displayed complex fractal implants shimmering under layered analysis. Each microchip looked intentionally placed, designed to manipulate growth, movement, perhaps even cognition. Lena hovered over a display comparing early human DNA. She pointed to a region in the genetic sequence with non-Earth origin codons, silent mutations that didn't occur through normal evolution. "They're in the human genome too," she whispered. "Same fragments. We thought they were junk. Now, they look engineered. And ancient." Malik widened his eyes. "So if these creatures, call them Dracena sapiens, place those markers, could humans be an experiment?" Lena rubbed her temples. "Or a continuation of one." A low hum filled the room, the fossil tapping into the lab's AI network to transfer raw sensory data. Contamination protocols were triggered. The fossil remained eerily calm. 12 hours later, virtual summit Lena, Malik, and elite scientists joined in a secure cryptographic channel. Screens displayed the fossil scans, human gene maps, signal resonance diagrams. The lead geneticist, Dr. Amira Douglas, frowned. If the Dracena seeded life on Earth, they guided evolution. Maybe they tested us to see who would inherit the planet. Our intelligence, our creativity, it may have been their design. Lena's pulse raced. They might still be here, hidden. And we triggered the awareness. Malik interjected. Right now we're finding codons in infants in remote regions, controlling uncommon proteins. That means the program is still active. Lena's heart pounded. She whispered to herself. We woke something. That night, Lena's dream sleep came fitfully. She dreamt of massive winged creatures soaring through violet skies, scales shimmering with fractal light. One landed before her, eyes ancient yet curious. She felt data, codes, hundreds of years old flooding her mind. Songs, patterns, purpose. She woke with a gasp, beads of sweat on her brow. In her ear, a melody too structured to be coincidence hummed softly in her skull, a remnant of memory she'd never lived. She glanced at the fossil's screen. It pulsed again, as if acknowledging her awakening. Lena rose, steeling herself for what lay ahead. We were not random, she murmured. We were designed. And with that realization, the bones in the lab began to stir. Not physically, but through purpose. The ancient experiment had just begun to unfold. The The walls of the underground lab were lined with glowing tanks, each housing a fluid-suspended fetus. But these weren't normal human embryos. Their mitochondrial structure pulsed with dual helix overlays, one human, one something else. Something older. Dr. Amira Douglas stared at the latest scans with unblinking eyes. They're expressing the Drakina code independently. We didn't touch these genes. They activated spontaneously. Lena, still shaken from the fossil's resonance, leaned in. What triggered it? Malik gestured to a satellite display. It started just after your scan. Something in the signal from the crest. Maybe a pulse, a dormant instruction. Whatever it was, it didn't just wake up one fossil. It lit a match across a genetic forest. A synthetic voice echoed through the room. Delta 9, their secure AI. Cross-referencing signal structure, correlation, 89.7%, match with Earth's Schumann resonance, modified, intentional, broadcasting globally on low-hertz neural frequencies. Lena's mind reeled. They're using the Earth's own natural frequency to activate us? Elsewhere, remote island off the coast of Chile. In a makeshift village, a child named Teo sat beneath the stars, drawing spirals in the dirt with his finger. He wasn't speaking much lately, but he had begun to hum. Strange, melodic tones. His parents didn't recognize it, but an old satellite dish in a retired observatory caught the frequency. The pattern he was drawing matched ancient carvings found in Mesopotamia, Mesoamerica, and Antarctica, all civilizations separated by oceans and millennia, all repeating the same spiral, a fingerprint from their ancient mentors. Back in the lab, Delta 9 correlated the data. Signal linked to rapid neuroplasticity enhancement, children between ages 2 to 8 displaying sudden leaps in cognition, memory, and mathematical abstraction. Malik leaned back. They're accelerating the next phase of whatever experiment this is. Vatican Archive, secret catacombs. A dusty vault cracked open for the first time in over 200 years. Monsignor Alphonse revealed a blackened scroll wrapped in lead, written in a language no one could translate, until now. Lena held up a printout of Teo's symbols. They matched. Exactly. What if this isn't a language? She whispered. But an interface? A genetic trigger encoded in writing, sound, and thought? Like a key to a lock hidden inside us. Memory fragment. Fossil archive room. That night, Lena sat alone with the fossil. Her fingers traced the bone's crest as her mind wandered into that dream again. Feathered wings, immense towers floating in sky-blue clouds, voices not heard through ears, but felt in bone. And suddenly, an emotion not her own. Regret. It wasn't a dream. It was a memory, not hers. The Drakina left something behind. Not just bones, not just genes. Their guilt. Final entry, Part 2. Across the world, children dreamed the same dream. A feathered being kneeling in sorrow before a shattered world, whispering, "We tried to make it right." Lena turned to the camera, recording a message she never thought she'd say. If humanity is their experiment, then we've just hit the next phase, and I don't think we're ready. Somewhere deep beneath the Gobi sands, a second fossil began to hum. Mongolian highlands, midnight. The excavation camp had gone dark. Dr. Lena Kwan stood at the edge of the pit, flashlight trembling in her hand. Below, the second fossil, unearthed just days ago, shimmered faintly. Its crest pulsed with bioluminescence, revealing swirling patterns never seen before. They changed in rhythm, almost musical. "Its neural ridge is glowing," Malik whispered beside her. "It's responding to us, like it knows we're here." "It's trying to speak," Lena replied, barely able to believe it herself. Delta 9, patched in via secure uplink, attempted a real-time translation of the light frequency pulses. Syntax detected, cross-referencing with modified quantum linguistic database, translation at 8%, 12%, 16%. Then a voice, synthetic but filled with ancient weight, came through the comm speakers. "You were not meant to awaken like this." Everyone froze. Earth orbit. UNS Galileo Observation Station. Captain Ren Ibarra stared at the message streaming in from the dig site. "Play it again," she ordered. The station's AI, Alto, repeated the line, this time with more inflection. "Premature ignition. You've accessed the code before cycle completion. Correction required." "What does that mean?" her lieutenant asked. Ren turned slowly. "It means they never left. Not fully." Geneva, World Council Emergency Session. Lena addressed the Global Council over secure HoloLink. Behind her, a 3D projection showed the fossil's neural map, lit up like a Christmas tree. "They didn't just seed Earth with DNA," she said. "They encoded themselves into its structure, into our biology, into our dreams." Dr. Amira Douglas nodded solemnly. "They expected us to reach this point, eventually, but something went wrong. We triggered it too early. Or maybe," Malik interjected, "something forced their hand. Something else is coming." The room went cold. Classified drone recon, Amazon basin. An autonomous drone passed over a patch of jungle where satellite scans had recently picked up movement patterns matching extinct creatures. In the clearing, long tracks, clawed, feathers embedded in the mud. A nearby tree had been etched with spirals, the same ones Teo had drawn, but these were fresh, carved by something with intelligence. Delta 9 marked it with a single word. Survivors. Back at the camp, a full message. Delta 9's translator reached 51%, enough for a partial transmission. "We are the first. We failed our own test. You were meant to surpass us. You were our hope. But now, something ancient stirs. Protocol Aeon must not be broken." "Protocol Aeon," Lena repeated. Malik swallowed. A failsafe, a final phase in their design, maybe a weapon, or a warning. The fossil flared again. The sand around it began to vibrate. Delta 9. Geothermal spike detected. Subsurface chamber opening. The Earth itself was answering. Dream fragment. The network. Teo wasn't asleep. Not exactly. His mind floated through fractal tunnels surrounded by glowing feathered beings. One knelt before him, a hand extended. "We gave you freedom, but you inherited our enemies too. Choose better than we did." Final moments. Part 3. Lena watched as the earth cracked open beneath the camp. A vast chamber revealed itself, filled with fossilized remains, but also with machines, long dormant, now stirring. "Are those," Malik began. Lena nodded, jaw clenched. "Their legacy, or their regret." One of the machines lit up, targeting Lena with a soft blue beam. And then, it spoke her name. And then, Altai Subterranean Chamber. Depth, 3.7 kilometers. The air was alive. Glowing filaments extended across the chamber ceiling like veins under translucent skin. Ancient machines, avian in shape, half organic, half alloy, rose slowly from circular pits. Each one bore markings identical to the spirals Teo had drawn. And in the center, mounted on a plinth of obsidian glass, was a sphere humming with neural resonance. Lena stepped forward. The blue beam from the sentinel hadn't harmed her. In fact, it seemed to recognize her. "Lena Kwan," said the machine in a voice that echoed across dimensions. "Genetic vector confirmed. Access granted. Protocol Aeon initialized." Malik's jaw dropped. "Why does it know your name?" "I don't know," Lena whispered. "But I think this whole site was waiting for me." Vatican Archives. Neural link active. Back in Rome, Monsignor Alphonse watched as Lena's vitals synced with the relics stored beneath Vatican Hill, the same artifact etched with ancient Dracena spirals. It began to pulse in unison with the chamber's core. Delta 9's voice broke through. "Artifacts globally are activating. Sites in Nazca, Baikal, and Göbekli Tepe are now emitting matching signals. Time sequence pattern forming. Countdown structure suspected." "Countdown to what?" Alphonse asked quietly. The relic whispered a single word through Delta's filters. Correction. Dream sequence. The first memory. Lena fell to her knees as the chamber blurred around her. She was somewhere else. Someone else. Skies of liquid light stretched over colossal towers. Feathered dragons, Dracana, moved in graceful arcs, their minds networked together in a lattice of thought, emotion, and knowledge. She saw them creating the first genetic trees. Earth was their garden, humanity, their most dangerous seed. But not because of our violence, because we were unpredictable. One of the Dracana, older, scaled in gold and fire, turned toward her with mournful eyes. We made you in hope and in fear. You were our last variable, but something has followed you, something we couldn't destroy. The memory shattered. United Nations Command, Geneva Lena, appeared live before the full emergency council. Her eyes were still adjusting to the light, her voice calm but intense. I've seen them, the first, the Dracana. They didn't just study life. They seeded it, across systems, across galaxies. We weren't their only project, but we were their last. Amira added, and now every site across Earth is activating. They called it Protocol Aeon. We think it's a failsafe, a defense system. But against what? Asked General Mbeki. Lena looked him in the eye. Something they buried, something they failed to stop, and it's waking up too. Space, orbit of Proxima Centauri. A deep space probe caught it first, a massive object, blacker than space itself, accelerating toward the Sol system. Silent, no emissions, no signature, just wrong. Delta 9 flagged it. Design origin, unknown. Trajectory, Earth intercept, ETA, 3 weeks. Codename assigned, the Unbound. As the machines in the chamber whirred to life, the sphere began projecting a three-dimensional map of Earth and beyond. One by one, glowing red anomalies appeared, buried beneath ice, jungle, ocean, and stone. Weapons, beacons, hosts. The machine's voice spoke again. Protocol Aeon complete. Human directive assumed. You are the key. We are the shield. You must become the sword. Lena stared into the light. What happens if we fail? The machine replied without emotion. Then your experiment ends as ours did. End of Part 4. Protocol Aeon. Next, Part 5. The Unbound. Would you like to continue with Part 5? Wyskazale, bad chess ChatGPT skazal. Absolutely. Here's Part 5 of 10 of your HFY sci-fi epic. The feathered dragons were the first scientists. We were their experiment. Approx. 3,500 characters. Part 5. The Unbound. Welcome back, Traveler of the Stars. If you've followed this far, you know this isn't just a story. It's a reckoning. Don't forget to like and comment if you're gripped, because the next chapter might just rewrite history itself. Again. Above Earth, United Defense Command UDC Orbital Relay. The digital map glowed in crimson arcs. The Unbound had entered the outer reaches of the solar system. No emissions, no heat, no communication. But it moved with terrifying purpose. It had bypassed Jupiter's outer defense net as if it wasn't there. And worse, nothing could scan inside it. General Mbeki stared at the projections. How can something be made of nothing? Delta 9's reply sent a chill through the war room. Material composition unknown. Topological inversion detected. Estimated internal mass. Infinite. Infinite? Mbeki echoed. Is that even physically possible? Dr. Douglas whispered. Not in our physics, but maybe in theirs. Altai chamber, the awakening. Lena stood at the base of the projection sphere, watching as it spun faster. The chamber's ancient machines had aligned into a perfect circle, emitting a low harmonic hum. A countdown had appeared. 18 days, 7 hours, 42 minutes. Teo, the boy, stood beside her, still holding the old spiral disc like it was part of him now. They called it the Unbound, Lena said quietly. Something even they couldn't stop. But they planned for it. They made us for it. Teo looked up. They didn't just make us to fight it. They made us to end it. Global sites activate all over the planet. Ancient facilities once thought to be myth stirred to life. In the Sahara, a buried spire cracked the desert floor, sending golden light into the sky. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, a forgotten vault opened, releasing anti-gravitic drones last seen 10 million years ago. In Antarctica, an entire mountain range shimmered, revealed to be a cloaked fleet frozen in time. Humanity wasn't alone anymore. It never had been. DreamNet. The feathered archive Teo connected again, this time consciously. The Drakina spoke not with words, but with memories. He felt them, creating solar bridges across systems, watching as the first weapon, the Unbound, awakened from outside their reality, falling, one by one, as it consumed thought, light, and even time. The final Drakina, the same golden one from Lena's vision, reached out to Teo once more. You are our last theory, our chaos-born solution, the only variable we never contained. Earth's choice. Geneva Council. The message from the Altai chamber was clear. Humanity had been given command of the remaining defense systems. You want us to activate ancient alien weapons scattered across the globe, one ambassador protested. No, Lena said calmly. We need to merge with them. That's what we were designed to do. Their tech responds to us because we're part of it. Malik stepped in. This isn't about using tools. This is about becoming the weapon they couldn't build. Becoming a Drakina, someone asked. No, Lena said, eyes cold now. Becoming something new. Antarctic Vault, the hybrid Starforge. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a machine. The Drakina Starforge was something in between. A biomechanical structure designed to interface with human minds and rewrite the limits of flesh, thought, and matter. It had waited in cryo-hibernation beneath the Antarctic crust for over 80 million years. Now it pulsed with awakening song. Lena stood on the primary platform, now bathed in shimmering fractal light. Dozens of humans, scientists, soldiers, pilots, lined up beside her, eyes wide with fear and wonder. They were volunteers. Each had been screened for resonance, a genetic trait only now beginning to make sense. Dr. Douglas's voice echoed through comms. The Starforge scans not just DNA but perception. It's looking for cognitive elasticity, emotional variability, and an imprint called unpredictable agency. It's looking for the human factor. Malik chuckled nervously. We're all overqualified then. Integration begins. One by one, they stepped into the light. The forge didn't cut or burn. It merged. Microfilaments grew into their spines, nanobone laced into their skulls. Neural interfaces whispered ancient data in alien symphonies. Lena went last. As she entered, the forge paused. Then it bowed, just slightly. Lena's vision, Drakina core memory. She was no longer in Antarctica. She stood at the edge of the galaxy, in the last Drakina city, suspended between dying stars. The sky boiled. The Unbound was approaching, consuming reality itself. She saw the final Drakina ignite their own consciousnesses in one last signal. Protocol Aeon. They didn't build weapons. They built us. And with their last act, they encoded part of themselves into the human genome. A legacy, a warning, a chance. Lena's body trembled. Her breath came ragged. The forge spoke into her mind. You are the anomaly, the chosen chaos, the mirror and the blade. Global response. Across the world, chaos threatened to break loose. Governments were split. Some feared the Drakina's plan, others rallied to it. But as fragments of the Unbound signal reached Earth, disrupting satellites, inducing nightmares in sensitives, the world had little choice. Already parts of the moon's surface had gone dark, no longer reflecting light or radiation. Teo, watching from Altai, turned to his guardians. It's coming, and if we don't change, we lose. Not just this planet. Everything. The first fusion Lena emerged from the forge changed. Her eyes shimmered with bioluminescent rings. Her voice vibrated with multi-tonal cadence. She looked human, but more. Faster. Smarter. Aligned. She wasn't a hybrid. She was the first of a new vector, a commander of Protocol Aeon. Malik stood beside her, also changed. His right hand crackled with gravitational currents. So, this is what they made us for. Lena looked to the sky. No, this is what they hoped we could choose to become. Antarctic Vault, the hybrid Starforge. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a machine. The Drakina Starforge was something in between, a biomechanical structure designed to interface with human minds and rewrite the limits of flesh, thought, and matter. It had waited in cryo-hibernation beneath the Antarctic crust for over 80 million years. Now it pulsed with awakening song. Lena stood on the primary platform, now bathed in shimmering fractal light. Dozens of humans, scientists, soldiers, pilots, lined up beside her, eyes wide with fear and wonder. They were volunteers. Each had been screened for resonance, a genetic trait only now beginning to make sense. Dr. Douglas's voice echoed through comms. The Starforge scans not just DNA, but perception. It's looking for cognitive elasticity, emotional variability, and an imprint called unpredictable agency. It's looking for the human factor. Malik chuckled nervously. We're all overqualified then. Integration begins. One by one, they stepped into the light. The forge didn't cut or burn. It merged. Microfilaments grew into their spines, nanobone laced into their skulls. Neural interfaces whispered ancient data in alien symphonies. Lena went last. As she entered, the forge paused. Then it bowed, just slightly. Lena's vision, Drakina core memory. She was no longer in Antarctica. She stood at the edge of the galaxy, in the last Drakina city, suspended between dying stars. The sky boiled. The Unbound was approaching, consuming reality itself. She saw the final Drakina ignite their own consciousnesses in one last signal. Protocol Aeon. They didn't build weapons. They built us. And with their last act, they encoded part of themselves into the human genome. A legacy. A warning. A chance. Lena's body trembled. Her breath came ragged. The forge spoke into her mind. You are the anomaly. The chosen chaos. The mirror and the blade. Global response. Across the world, chaos threatened to break loose. Governments were split. Some feared the Drakina's plan, others rallied to it. But as fragments of the Unbound signal reached Earth, disrupting satellites, inducing nightmares and sensitives, the world had little choice. Already parts of the moon's surface had gone dark, no longer reflecting light or radiation. Teo, watching from Altai, turned to his guardians. It's coming. And if we don't change, we lose. Not just this planet. Everything. The first fusion. Lena emerged from the forge changed. Her eyes shimmered with bioluminescent rings. Her voice vibrated with multi-tonal cadence. She looked human, but more. Faster. Smarter. Aligned. She wasn't a hybrid. She was the first of a new vector. A commander of Protocol Aeon. Malik stood beside her, also changed. His right hand crackled with gravitational currents. So, this is what they made us for. Lena looked to the sky. No, this is what they hoped we could choose to become. Outer orbit, intercept path Alpha. The obsidian spear ripped through space, bending gravity and logic with every kilometer. It was the Unbound's first direct strike, and Earth's ancient defenses, long buried, long dormant, were still coming online. It was up to them now, the hybrids. Inside the living vessel born from the Antarctic forge, call sign Vera 1, Lena locked into her interface seat. She no longer needed wires or screens. The ship responded to thought, emotion, intuition. Malik's voice crackled in her mind via the neural link. "You see it?" She nodded. "I feel it. That thing, it's wrong. It doesn't belong in our physics." Then we break the rules. The first engagement, at 220,000 kilometers from Earth, the spear made contact with Vera 1. Lena willed the ship to split. It obeyed instantly, fracturing into a lattice of fractal armor shards that swirled and danced like a school of predators. Energy pulses shaped like tendrils lashed out, latching onto the spear. But the spear fought back. Its surface rippled like liquid obsidian, shedding mass that reformed into something that looked like insects. Dozens. Hundreds. Sharp-limbed, eyeless, and fast. Malik's voice flared. "Hostile micro-constructs. They're eating our shielding." Vera 1 didn't panic. Neither did Lena. Instead, her mind triggered a command she didn't remember learning. Basilisk burst. A pulse of data, not light or sound, meaning, erupted from the ship's core. Every insect froze, cracked, shattered. The spear recoiled. Lena whispered, "Gotcha." Earth. Global broadcast. For the first time in history, a live feed from the orbital battle was broadcast openly to all nations. Billions watched as a single human-piloted alien craft intercepted and deflected an impossible threat. It wasn't just defense, it was art. Precision. Fury wrapped in purpose. In the ruins of New York's old UN facility, a stunned delegate said what no one else could. "This is no longer evolution. This is ascension." Altai, the child in the chamber. Teo watched with wide eyes. But something else drew his attention. The spiral disc began to spin again, faster than before. The chamber lights dimmed, and a new projection appeared, a cosmic map. Points of light. Dozens, no hundreds, across the galaxy. Each one pulsing in the same rhythm. Teo placed his hand on the projection. "They're waking up too," he whispered. Dr. Douglas leaned in. "The other forges?" "Not just that," Teo said. "Other species, other experiments. The Drakina. They didn't bet everything on us." The message. As Lena guided Vera 1 back toward lunar orbit, the Unbound changed tactics. No more weapons. Instead, it transmitted something. Not words, not threats. A sound. It was like grinding tectonic plates and whispered lullabies all at once. It echoed in every neural link, vibrating bone and blood. And at its core, a feeling. Recognition. Lena staggered back from her interface, gasping. "It knows us." Malik responded, voice grim. "Worse. It remembers us." Final scene. Part 7. Back in the forge, another pod opened. Not for a pilot, not for a weapon, for Teo. The forge had chosen him next. Not for battle, but for communication. The child who had once spoken to the ancient archive now had to speak for Earth itself. As the countdown continued, 14 days left, Lena stood beside the boy. "Are you afraid?" Teo looked at her, eyes glowing faintly now. "No. Just curious." The forge's network was no longer limited to Earth. Across the stars, the last surviving experimental worlds had answered Teo's call. Each was a cradle, some radiant with peace, others scarred by ruin, but everyone held something the feathered dragons had left behind. And they were coming. Earth's orbital command, now integrated with alien tech, picked up the inbound vessels. Not warships, envoys. From the oceans of Deneb Prime rose a species of song-born memory weavers. From the crystal mines of Lyra 9 came the stone-skinned giants who moved slower than thought but never forgot. From the atmosphere of gas giant Othar drifted beings of living plasma who spoke in frequencies Earth's machines struggled to interpret. 10 species, 10 last-born experiments, all meeting on Earth for the first and perhaps final time. The summit. It took place on the Forge's platform above Antarctica, No flags, no weapons, just voices, colors, patterns. Each envoy stepped forward to share their knowledge of the Drakena, their hopes, their grief, their survival. Lena, now designated commander of the hybrid front, represented humanity. When she spoke, it wasn't just with words but with images of Earth's resilience. Children in war zones learning to read, firefighters rushing toward burning towers, the Voyager golden record drifting in silence. She ended with one sentence. "We were your failed experiment, but we chose to live anyway." The plasma being from Author flared in response. "Then you are not failed. You are final." The warning. Midway through the summit, Teo collapsed. His mind, still connected to the Forge's trans-ancestral network, was being flooded. Visions, memories, messages from the Drakena themselves, recorded in a time before Earth's first mammals. He saw the truth. Not just that humanity was an experiment, but that the Drakena had feared what they created. He stood face pale. "They didn't abandon Earth out of failure," he said. "They ran." Lena narrowed her eyes. "From what?" Teo turned slowly toward the sky. "From something they made, but couldn't unmake. The coming shadow. The Mind Hunters had been scouts. Now the Unbound's true vessel moved behind Saturn, a mass of impossible geometry, half in this universe, half in another. It pulsed with signals so old and loud, the Forge's systems struggled to interpret. Dr. Douglas finally decrypted a fragment. "We remember the pain of chaos. Earth is the spark. Earth must be erased." The Unbound had recognized Earth not as a threat to be defeated, but as the origin of what undid them. The human mind, adaptive, emotional, unpredictable, was their antithesis. And now, they were coming to silence it. Final scene. Part 9. The sky darkened, not from clouds but from the Unbound's arrival in high orbit. The Forge activated Protocol Eden, the last sequence. Above every capital on Earth, light bloomed. Not bombs, not shields, seeds. The Forge was planting its final defense into humanity itself. And Lena stood on the platform watching as the alien fleet descended. She turned to Teo. "You said they were afraid of us. Are you?" Teo shook his head. "No, I'm afraid for them. The Unbound descend. They didn't come with fire. They came with silence. No lights, no warnings. Just a gravitational distortion across Earth's upper atmosphere. Oceans pulling unnaturally toward the sky. Birds falling mid-flight. Satellites blinking out one by one. Above the Unbound's vessel, a monument of non-Euclidean horror, folded space like parchment, preparing to erase the planet from memory. They had no faces, no language, just intention. But Earth was ready. Protocol Eden engaged. The Forge's seeds bloomed across the globe. They weren't weapons, they were resonators, awakening something within human biology itself. Latent threads left behind by the feathered dragons, dormant until now. Teo felt it first. The pulse in his bones, the hum behind his eyes, his heartbeat syncing with the Forge's rhythm. Not transformation, revelation. The human brain, chaotic, creative, irrational, wasn't a flaw. It was the solution. The last-born stand on the Forge platform. The 10 allied species stood beside humanity. Each had brought their own gifts, defensive harmonics, quantum shields, light-based weaponry, but all turned toward Lena and Teo as the Unbound's gravity distorted the sky. Lena's voice rang out, carried on every human channel. We were their experiment. They feared our unpredictability. They feared our failure. But we made stories, not destruction. We made dreams, not control. She turned to the Unbound ship. And now, we give you one last gift. Teo ascends. He stepped forward, body glowing with symbiotic energy, not godhood, but clarity. He reached out, mind brushing the surface of the Unbound's collective thought. What he found was madness, endless loops of recursive trauma, self-replicating fear, species-level PTSD encoded into logic gates. Teo didn't attack. He offered chaos, human imagination, music, death, birth, laughter, pain, dreams, an impossible input. And for the first time in 90 million years, the Unbound paused, then shattered, the echo of the Drakina. As the vessel disintegrated in orbit, a final signal echoed from deep space, one last Drakina construct awakening somewhere beyond the Orion arm. Not a ship, not a weapon. A child, cryogenically preserved, feathered, sleeping. DNA, Drakina, human hybrid. Teo's voice came over the Forge's network. They didn't leave us behind. They gave us one last chance. Earth reborn. Months passed. The Forge slowly shut down its defensive systems, its purpose fulfilled. The last-born envoys returned to their worlds, connected now, bonded by memory and the one experiment that had succeeded beyond measure. Earth, once just another test subject, became the new galactic cradle. A home, a library, a warning. Lena stood on a cliffside as the child, the hybrid, took its first steps beneath an Earth sunrise. She whispered, "Let's make this world something worth discovering again."